Greetings to everybody. Difficult side, very physical, a typical team from Africa. They play a direct game, not much combinations. They just go wide, they want to cross. But what's important for us is the position that we put ourselves. We did not score away from home. We could have been the perfect scenario. But having said that, it's important that there's no draw that we can play now. We have to play to win the match, irrespective of the scoreline. That's what we have been working on. Try and score, but we must limit them from scoring because we know the outcome and how it works out. We're confident on how we have prepared based on the previous match, league match that we played. The team looks to be on the positive shape in terms of creating more chances to score. We are positive that we'll get a good outcome.
Greetings, everybody. Yes, just to add on what the coach was saying, yes, it was a physical game. They were a bit physical, and of course, we wanted to get the goal, even though it was a goalless draw. So it's very important for us to get the positive results come Sunday so we can go into the next round of the tournament.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll now open for questions from the floor. As per norm, please raise your hands from the platform and you'll be acknowledged and given an opportunity to pose your question. I think I will not be communicating with you verbally from this point onwards. And also just to remind everybody, if you're using multiple devices, to please keep one of them completely on silent mode so that to avoid microphone feedback. We also have members of the media here at Rand Stadium, so we'll also be giving them an opportunity to ask questions from time to time. Vuyo, you have the first question.
Thank you so much, Thandi, and good morning to Coach and Abel. Coach, a question just for you. We know how the situation can really change when it comes to the second clash with just a single goal from the visitors. How much are you drilling to the defenders into this match in terms of focus and making sure that really nothing goes through, because it can change in an instant if a loss of focus in any part of the game?
We're fully aware of the situation, and maybe our main focus is scoring because again, if they don't score and we don't score, we still come to the same situation. While we are aware that we should score, but our rest defense, our defensive balance should be on point. That's what we have been working on. And like I said, based on how we have prepared, on how we played the previous match, it looks positive. We know the threat from the opponents, dribbling on the sides for only one reason. They want to cross. They've got very physical strikers in the box. But I think we have the capacity to do that and move into the next round.
Coach, it's David from Indiski Times. I hope you're good. I just wanted to find out if there's an update on Goodman Mosele. You know, when he went to Bafana, he was called up. He didn't arrive, and we all heard what Coach Hugo Boss said, you know, and there has been no communication about him since. So I just wanted to find out if you can give us an update, whether he's back with Pirates or what's the situation. Thank you.
Sometimes it's sad when you read some of the articles on the media that are not true. There are a lot of speculation, and for me, it becomes very irresponsible when some of the statements that come out of the media, whether through the national team coach or anybody, the situation of Mosele, if you are in a position that I'm in, is very sad without revealing too much. But I understand the situation, and if the coach chooses to choose him or not, it's in his right to do that. But in a position that the boy was in, I'm fully supportive of what happened to him, and right now he's back in training, and we support his cause as a club and as coaches in front of him. But what the coach says about players and how he says it, sometimes I wish it could be controlled and be done in a better manner. But I'm not in his shoes. But if I were to do the same thing where he's standing, I'll do things differently.
Coach, talk about scoring goals. You've not been so lucky in that department in personal games. How are you working around it? Are you looking at changing personnel or the approach, especially looking in the last 2 situation?
Unfortunately, in football, we've got so many things to work on. Firstly, when we were given an opportunity, we worked on intensity, we worked on fitness, football fitness, and we worked on trying to retain and maintain the ball as long as we can. And then the next phase is working on the attacking third. We have been doing that. And like I said, the previous match, I thought we were unfortunate. We created so many chances. Our attacking third was perfect, except for putting the ball in the net. So we've been working a lot on that, working on set plays. So we're working on everything, one step at a time. And I'm confident if we do the things the way we have been preparing, a lot of good results are going to follow.
Thanks, Tandy. Rob Delport from Idiski Times in Cape Town. This is a question for Abel. Abel, just what lessons have you guys taken from last season's performance in the CAF Confederation Cup, and what can you take into the tournament this season?
That you just have to make sure that you win your home games and make sure that you seal the results in your home matches. And I think that's the most important lesson that we have learned as a team from the previous campaign. So it's important for us to make sure that we get the good results that we need in our home games.
Coach, Lee from Supersport. I just want to know if your opponents haven't played much football lately, apart from the CAF competition. Does that make them more dangerous with fresher legs, or does that give you the edge, having played more matches, more match practice on your side?
I'm always cautious about opponents, especially in that area, and the little knowledge that we have about them. We can only use the information that we have after having played them. Based on how they played, they did not look like a team that has not played for a long time. So we'll use that as a measure and prepare from there. Although the surface was artificial, they look very fit. They look very physical, very prepared. So we'll just prepare for a team that is normal and prepares normal and try and score goals. And I think it's important that Pirates must have more goals than the opponents so that we can just move into the next round. I can't read much on their status, on how much they've played and how less they've played.
Coach Mandla, I just wanted to find out here. You know, one may look and say, Pirates squad, it's a very, very talented team, and then it should be easily challenge Mamelodi Sundowns. But why do you think you guys is not working just to find that unit team, that team that can compete and challenge for trophies? And also to Mabasa, sitting alongside Mandla Ncikazi, what comes to mind? Because I remember both of you made a good career. I mean, achieved something unthinkable at Maritzburg United in 2014-2015 season. Just to work with him now at the Pirates, what does it make you feel? Does it make everything easy for you? Because I can see that you also, getting a game time at the club.
It's very unfortunate that as a coach, I have to make excuses. I know coaches are not allowed to make excuses, but Pirates have been very unfortunate in my presence. I know it happens in all clubs, injuries. But for the amount of injuries that our club has gone through, not injuries based on the bad training, but injuries that are contact injuries. You can list 15 players that are out in the club currently. That does not give us the better chance. It's not an excuse, like I said, but if we had all the players at the right place and the change in leadership, any process of change, any process of injuries like it's happening needs time. But I know in football, you just have to win every game, especially in this club of ours. And we understand the frustration of our supporters. This brand must always be where you are saying on top. But with all what I've mentioned above, I understand the process. I understand why it's happening. It's predestination. We are where we are right now, but we can only be better from this. And from what I see, we are going to be better very soon.
Yeah, and just to answer the question, yes, we worked previously together at Maritzburg. We had a football time there also, and I just want to relate that and to make sure that the team is in a better position and we challenge things and compete for things and we compete to win trophies. And that's just what I'm just here for, to help the team move forward and to put in the performances week in, week out.
Coach, it's David from Indiski Times once more. Your striker, Chigofatso Mabasa, he came back from injury. He scored 2 goals. He looked in great form. He went to Bafana and was taken off, very early in the first half. And then he came back and now he hasn't scored. Did you have to put some work, in talking to him and in getting his confidence back up after, that early substitution with Bafana? Or how are you getting him back to, to scoring? Thank you.
To be blunt, I wish there could be better communication from national coaches and coaches in the PSL. But honestly, it's not at the best. I don't know the reasons. If maybe there was a contact about Mabasa, who's a good player, on how he plays, what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, maybe they will understand better how the club uses him. But for the lack of that, it puts us where we are. Pule in the national team got injured. Maybe better communication, some things could have been avoided. I'm not here to lambast maybe the other party, but I'm speaking the truth. Some of the things you wish they could be done better. Mabasa, who's very good in certain areas, like all players, has got weaknesses. But maybe a better communicated scenario would have made him perform better. The coach gave his reasons on his game plan, what he wanted from him. But maybe where I'm sitting, I would have done things differently. So we have spoken to him. We're still using him. He's still our best player. He's still our best striker. And we're still going to continue using him. And then I hope maybe with the better understanding, when he goes back into the setup, he will be more useful into the national setup.
Morning, coach, and everyone else. Coach and David, both of you maybe. First one is, can you articulate for laymen, for fans, the difference between playing on a grass surface like the ones we are used to here and these artificial turfs that you get, especially in the DRC and a bit further north? The actual difference, just so that a layperson can understand, and why is it a disadvantage when it comes from playing on our surfaces going to the artificial surface? And then second is, if you can just give us an injury update going into the match, any injury worries that you might have. Thanks, coach.
Firstly, playing in Africa, the opponents have the same trick. One, they'll just destabilize you in all forms. And the terrain is not going to make it easier for you. One, in a hot surface, that type of artificial turf is very hot. The artificial turfs are not the same. The one in DRC is the one when there's heat. The heat then comes from the surface into the boots, plastic boots, whatever boots the players are using, which is why we recommended to our players not to put water in their boots because they will have blisters. One, it was very hot. The bump of the ball is unpredictable. So what we use to have how the ball bounces in a normal turf is different from an artificial turf. The flow of the ball, how quickly it moves, is also affected. So how you take set plays, the ball that they were using. So there's so many adjustments that you have to get used to. But having said that, when you play in Africa, you must be adapted. Pirates have been there before. They've played there before. They've won before. So one cannot use that as an excuse while we understand everything else that surface presents. Injury update. Is that the next question? Currently, Mabaso, you'll help me. With so many injuries that are taking place in our club, you even lost count of how many players are out in the sick bed. But currently, there's not many players that are out except the ones that you know. Lodge is still out. Pule is still out. Ofori is still out. Who else, Mabas?
Like the club, if you can go to the website, they'll give you the updates, and I think you'll be much more informed there. And I think the club will sort you out on the club's website, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tande. It's Tabiso here. Well, I think my question has been asked, but I'll ask another one for both coach and player. Coach, you mentioned that you understand the frustrations of the fans. And with the announcement that the fans can come back to the stadium now, would you have welcomed fans back for this match? How important would it have been, considering how crucial this encounter is? Did you probably need that 12th man in the stands? And also for Abel, a similar question. I mean, you've played in front of fans before. Some of the new guys in the team have been experienced playing in front of the Pirate supporters. How important do you think it is for those new guys to also experience the proper feeling and just get that injection from the fans, especially with the results being the way they are at this stage?
From your question, I can hear an answer already at the end. But having said that, I'll try and respond. It can work both ways. If results are good, you'll want fans to be there because they become the 12th player. For the players that are new and young, it can work against them, but you will never know. It's something that you can't judge. It's only my discretion that is saying that. But for Pirates, being the club that it is, at some point, with all safety precautions having been taken, it will be good to have the fans. Football is an entertainment sport, and it's football because of the fans. So at a point when it's safe, fans will come back into the stadiums. But for now, irrespective of what happens, we'll still take what is here and respect all the government protocols for the current situation that is taking place in our country.
Coach, now, on the plus side of that, it has given the opportunity for more players to come through. Mopela got a lot of praise after winning the United debut. Are we going to see a lot more of that this coming season?
When scenarios like in our club are happening, adversity is breakfast for champions. And I said to the players, so when some things happen like that, you can either see the positive or the negative. You can't change what has happened, but you can change what is going to happen. So one, it's an opportunity for players that have not been playing. It's an opportunity for us coaches to see the players that have not played. So while everything else looks like on the downslide, there's a plus that we are giving the youngsters, we are giving players that are new and players that have not been playing an opportunity. I hope that it gels well soon, but it increases the pool of players that we can choose from going forward.
Yeah. Coach, the club went as far as the quarterfinals in this competition. And does that now, in terms of the targets, put pressure in terms of how far you can go or even do better than you did in the last four or even possibly the final?
The mandate from the club is very clear, and you can only do better than what you have done before and maybe go all the way, but one step at a time. We have to improve our performances in the field of play. But on that side, we will want to achieve as coaches, achieve as players, just besides what the club is looking for. We will do our best under these conditions that I've mentioned, but the team looks like it's on the rise. The players that we have tried, there's an improvement in our game, which is more important to me. For me, let's improve our football. When we improve the football, it will improve a lot of deficiencies that are within our setup. And so once we do that, train the team, not players. Have all players ready to perform at any stage when they are selected. And I think we are on that stage currently, and it looks positive.
Coach, just to go back on the issue of Goodman Mosela, and then you spoke about there's a lack of communication between you guys and the association. Has a coach of the national team, since he arrived in the country, phone you and speak to you, just to get the intellectual, in terms of you guys? And then with the score being 0-0, is it an advantage for you or it's an advantage? How are you looking into it in this game, coach?
The time is gone.
No, it's not gone. Should I repeat, Coach?
Okay, Kabaltag, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Should I repeat, Coach?
I heard you clearly. The issue of communication between coaches and the national team, I don't want to repeat what has been said by other coaches. For the fact of the problems that other clubs are mentioning that are happening in our club with the national team, it just shows that something is not done correctly. I'll use an example of the previous coach from where I was. I've met him personally. He came to training to see our team training. Discussed with the technical team. He addressed the team on his expectation. The previous coach who was there. I would have expected that the same will continue. But to be honest, it has not happened for whatever reason. So it becomes very difficult that it's a mutual connection. I've tried to communicate with some members, but it should not be done that way. It should not be done in isolation, where one coach from one club must try and connect with the coach. The structure must inform what are the expectations of the national coach from coaches. And I think it's an area that needs to be ironed out, and it will lessen the problems that we have currently in terms of injuries of players. An example, if we're having a loading session today and the player is selected in the national team tomorrow and they have a loading session, already on that is a risk of injuries. A better understanding and communication between the two parties will help the national team, will also help the team, so that when our players come back from the national team, they're still useful into the team. And I think that's highly important, but it's not happening currently.
That's on the score being 1-1 coach advantage.
It's just obvious. If you are in this position that you are in, it's 0-0. We have to score. We have to win the match. There's no draw that helps Pirates currently. Whether 0-0, it doesn't help. 1-1 doesn't help. It gives the advantage to the opponents. So Pirates must win the match. And based on what we have seen, the capacity is here to win the match. We created better chances in the first match. In those hot conditions, I think we played better. We just couldn't put the ball in the net, which is why our preparation currently is more focused on scoring, on the attacking third, on the entries, on the final shot, on the decision in the final third.
Coach, just a quick one, and maybe it's just a formality. You know, we know that since Joseph Simba left, that Coach Fadlu and you are working sort of as co-caretaker coaches, and there has been no update from the club. But when we saw the team sheet last time from the CAF match, you know, it listed you as head coach. Was that maybe because anything has changed in the structure, or was that, you know, because your role, it is required from CAF, you know, to have certain qualifications or to list someone as head coach? Thank you.
Can I recommend a book to you, my brother? There's a book, 5 Levels of Leadership. Get that book. The stages there are position. First one is position. The next one is permission. The third one is the team accepting you and production. So production, I'm in that stage. Whether I'm a cleaner, whether I'm a kitman, what matters to me is the badge of Pirates and Pirates doing well. And I put all my energies on focus on that. All the others, the titles, I am just not interested. So if you want to title me as an assistant, as a co-coach, as a caretaker coach, as a head coach, it matters less to me. What matters the most is Pirates doing well in my presence, whether in any position. And that question for me is just a question that I don't think becomes relevant at this current position.
Just in closing, Coach, this is for you again from Power 987, and I'm sure you've already been having these conversations throughout, as that of last season in the PSL. Just a message to Coach Benny. He's also got a match lined up, a crucial match that could define whether the team moves to the next stage. Have you had a chat with him already? And just a message to him.
I'm very sectional when you come to that. You know, KZN people always have this Zulu mentality. It will be nice to see South African teams doing well in CAF Championship. It has got a lot of benefits. So Amazulu are no different. It will be nice to see them doing well. Coach Penny, I haven't shared with him personally, but I will wish Amazulu to do well. And it will be nice from that province for a number of reasons for them to do well. But Pirates must be the first and others can follow.
Coach, you also confirm that you are a licensed coach. Yeah. But on one of your players, the defender, a lot has been said about him. Seem to be impressed. Can you tell us more about what he brings to the team? And also, I'm not sure if he's registered for the competition.
It's so unfortunate he's not registered. Yes.
Yes. And I'm assuming, obviously, that you'll go through to the next stage. What would he bring with the experience that he has to the team? And also for players who are versatile, sometimes there's always that gray area in terms of where are you suited best. You've excelled at right back. Now you've been used more in the central role. For you, where you're comfortable, it's easier because you've got two coaches who've worked a lot previously with you.
That is a modern defender, a defender that any coach will love to work with. Comfortable on the ground in the build attack. He can use both feet. He's strong in the air. He can defend 1 versus 1. It affords the team an opportunity to play with the high line. If we want to press on top, if we want to press opponents, you should not be worried about the space behind. He presents you with that dynamic. I even think that at some point you can even play him in the middle of the park. That is what he presents in our team. He's strong on set plays, defensively and offensively. He's just a complete defender. Maybe very soon he should be even going higher than where he is right now. But I'm really happy for the contribution that he has provided in our setup.
And what will offer for you in the group stages?
Let's get there and take it from there. But he is very useful in our club. And I'm happy for the club to have acquired him to help the club currently. But he is going to be very useful in our club going forward.
Yeah, just to answer your question, this season I started as centre midfield, and of course, if needed be, if I can play right back, I'll definitely play. But definitely I've been enjoying more game time in midfield, and I look forward to building on that position.